Uh, Testing 1 2 1 2. Oh, hello America, how y'all doing out there? Emos the Witness coming to you live again. It's the Phil Show, as you know. Set up what the fuck I look like, and it's a Freestyle Friday. Welcome you guys to a new show, a morning show. Like I said, coming to you live, and I'm bringing this show as a new political perspective, a new analysis of what's going on in the society today. Looking to lend you a new voice regarding all the tyranny going on against the Constitution, the leadership. So I welcome you to a Freestyle Friday. This is episode, I think we're at 44, 45. We gotta start picking it up, you guys. Start bringing it to a new level. So we're going to get into it. We're downtown at Wave 120 East Market Street at Wave 1 Media. Catch me live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Like my page, subscribe. Website coming soon, emostthewitness.com. So we're about to get into the news, get into all the issues of the day, all the agendas going on, and see if we can push back against all the corporate and all the corruption and all the deceit that we all face each and every day, all the bullshit. That's why it's called the Phil Show. What the fuck I look like. So as we grow, as we become witnesses, I'm Emos. We're going to dive into all the issues and all the politics and all the nonsense and find out what the truth is, so we can be better informed. So let's get into my man Malik. We're downtown kicking. Let's bring down the music. Let's get into the background. Let's get into the nice smooth sounds and get you guys into the weekend and get you guys thinking about some of these problems, some of these issues. And as we warm up for Easter and spring break, a lot going on. We're like I said, we're opening it up. You know, I said we're still dealing with COVID. Still constant back and forth, constant battle, a lot of confusion. We're trying to sort that out. You know, as a freestyle fight, I might just jump around and talk about all kind of stuff, all kind of issues. But like I said, but from a main perspective, though, I like to keep this show focused on politics, focus on the issues and the agendas and where we're going, where our leaders are trying to take us. You know, the constant changes. We have to adapt and roll with these things. And a lot of times, you know, we don't have time to stay on task. We don't have time to stay up to code of what's going on in the world. You know, we're trying to live our lives and pay our bills and you know, stay afloat. But at the same time, we have to stay aware of what is going on. A lot of shit's going on in the last decades, but the last 8 years I've seen a lot of changes that worry me. And then when you have issues that worry you, and then you wonder who's speaking, who's your voice, and then you look at the media, and you look at big tech, and you look at where you get your news and your sources, and you wonder, is that enough? Is it one-sided? Are we being blinded about the real truths? And you see evidence of that. You know, you see evidence of that when you listen to the news and you see a different result than what you thought would be. You know, most millions of people were thinking that Hillary Clinton would win the 2016 election, and they woke up to a surprise, right? Woke up to Donald Trump. Same thing in 2020, but from a different angle, from a slanted angle. I mean, from a one eye closed perspective. You know, you thought that Donald Trump. I mean, I thought Donald Trump would probably win, but Biden won. And then he also won in a manner which is skeptical. Makes you kind of wonder about your vote. Is it strong enough? Does it count? You know, our voter integrity. You know, where that now lies. You know, today. So you know, with some of the issues that we're going to get into, including Georgia, for example, they made some changes to their election laws after reviewing some of the results in the 2020 election, and you're going to see a review of all that going down the line. And you hope that the result at the end of the day is not to usurp power, but more so to assure us that our votes count and they matter. And when we go into that booth in midterms and in 2024 and beyond, that our votes count and there's no hanky-panky or none of that. You know? It's important. It's important. So, like I said, it's important to push back against big tech and the media, and not only that, so it's important to add a new voice. You know, so I encourage anybody to come out here and maybe get you a show or get you some kind of some kind of opinion or some kind of engagement in your community, to make sure that you're informed, that we bring about better leadership, and that we demand that our opinions and our representation can matter. That we actually, hold people accountable, and we expose truth. We hold truth to power. We hold people accountable for what they say, not just in politics. Like I said, all around the world. Anybody who has a major influence in any industry, whether it be Hollywood, whether it be, corporate, whether it be, Wall Street, big tech, whoever has a major influence, individuals like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Oprah, anybody that can sway an opinion, that LeBron James, anybody. And so where's the normal Joe's voice that says, hey, I hear you guys talking, I hear your influence, what about this, what about that? Or I question your agenda. There's two sides of the coin, And when you hold power, you have to make sure that the person that's willing the power is stable. Don't be on some Game of Thrones shit, We don't need no Joffreys around this motherfucker running around. That's what I'm trying to control. I'm trying to control the Joffreys of the world. You know what I mean? I mean, shit, they used to throw us in the history books about evil tyranny leaders and leaderships all throughout. I don't want that shit. And there's a lot of issues down the pipeline where like I said, right now, look, this is gun control. Gun control is gonna be a hot topic now. We had a lot of series of shootings recently. Like I said, it's Freestyle Friday. I'm gonna jump around this motherfucker. I might turn around and tell a joke now again. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I may walk away and go buy a hot dog and come back. But like I said, we had a couple of shootings recently, and it's now a hot topic. It's always gonna be. This is the moments where you talk about these things when issues like this happen. But again, at the same time, what's the agenda? What's the goal? Who are you taking advantage of? What kind of laws are you trying to pass? We're gonna get into that. Obama, but Biden wants to actually urge the Supreme Court to pass a law. Actually, I almost want to get to that right now, but he's urging the Supreme Court to let cops enter homes and seize guns without a warrant. So that's kind of where we're heading. We're heading into another constitutional battle, right to bear arms. We have an issue where we have a crisis such as another mass shooting. And issues like that come around. We want to find an opportunity to do something with guns and how we can eradicate or get them out the hands of our ordinary citizens. It's a constant attack on that amendment. And the thing about it is, we never look at it. In my opinion, we don't ever look at it from a mental health perspective. We don't ever look at it from a different angle. And I think that ship is sailed. You can't take guns out of people's hands. You're not gonna. That can of worms is open. It's not going away. And with debate being so hot, and it being so historical that and the importance of having that deterrent amongst the citizens is something that can't be broken. It's something that is constantly debated each and every year, but most importantly, each and every political season, year. When are we going to quit being duped and realize that these are hot button issues that only come about to get you emotionally riled up, to sway your opinion and make you vote a certain way. You're not going to take our guns away. It's gone. That ship has sailed. But with this law that's been on the books forever, holding so many important parts of it, such as like I said, a deterrent, being able to protect your family when you can't get help from government, when government goes awry, you have that ability to protect yourself and your family. But there's a lot of arguments. There's a lot of angles. When you have these killings, how do you stop the hate? How do you stop someone thinking a certain way mentally to want to go do something like that? Have the gall to want to do something like that. One thing we can do is make sure we hold our leaders responsible and accountable when they speak out about these issues, to not divide us, and even on other topics that divide us. Spurring a certain level of hate to want someone to do this, perpetuating a narrative that's not consistent with the love that is a part of society. You know, I think there's more love than hate in this world. But I think we perpetuate a certain angle, a certain thing that, or we dwell on a topic so long that it could spur a certain level of hate. You know, when you're influencing someone like that. Barack Obama caught heat recently for doing such thing. You know, he's been known to pop his head out, and it's true, during these kind of issues and talk about racism and misogyny amongst these topics in a quest to get rid of guns. And it just does them a fuel division, in my opinion. I think a lot of leaders are off the mark when they use this as a political hot button, when they actually should really be talking about mental health and how to correct some of it. And of course also, you know, some levels of protections on gun purchasing and how to and who should be able to buy guns and to whatnot. And also getting rid of guns in inner cities. I mean, that's amazing how that's an expose amongst itself, how these guns get there and the looseness of it all. We all know that there's something behind that. But I mean, there's things we can do to make society more peaceful, more safe, and we're doing that. What we don't need to do is have leadership that spurs division, that spurs hate. And we need to. I think we need to start to focus on other areas such as mental health and other protections. That's just common sense that we don't do. So I mean, I don't know. We need to work on that a lot better. But I want to talk about that with this article here, and I want to talk about some of the election results. I mean, where we are as far as the election cleanup from 2020 and how we can get ready for 2022 and 2024. I'm really urging a Republican surge, a Republican comeback, but I'm a little worried about it. I don't know. I mean, you know, 4 years is a long time, you know, and you know, like I said, Biden is doing some things that are pretty positive, but overall, I'm wary. I don't think he has the. I think what he's doing, he's pushing a big agenda through these next 4 years, hoping that he can do as much as he can before he loses power. I'm hoping he loses power, but you know, he has some big goals. You know, say infrastructure. You see right now he's attacking the gun control. He's trying to do something with guns, get rid of guns. I think he's looking to really do that in the next 4 years. He's going to keep attacking that. Some of his younger Democrats in Congress are trying to push Medicare for all, push it on him. They may get that, you know. But I mean, he's trying to get rid of the filibuster in order to do a lot of these things, push a lot of these agendas through, and it just kind of makes you a little nervous, in my opinion. Because, like I said, I don't think he has a mandate. I don't think that he should have been. Well, I mean, the thing about it is the Democrats play a game that's more. They just play a better political game than Republicans, and I think that over 4 years, you might start seeing a drowning out of the Republicans' voice with the loss of this filibuster, and then the slant that is on the leadership with Donald Trump. When the 2024 elections come around, the Democrats may see even more power if they have positive policy goals, agendas accomplished and pushed through amongst their constituents, amongst people who demand such things as Medicare for all and minimum wage increases and things such as that. You know, I don't think the Republicans are really fighting the way they need to fight. We have establishment Republicans that are trying to actually really control and get their voice back amongst their own party leadership. Against, going against the Donald Trump cleanup. Then you have young Republicans as well trying to support an ousted president. Like I said, I mean, and then so there's a lot of internal cleanup. You know, like I said in previous shows, there's a lot of Republicans. I mean, a lot of things Donald Trump is doing to support young Republicans. I actually read an article recently. He's doing some kind of like almost Survivor type process against young young Republican leadership, as far as the interview and the vetting process going on within the party. And that's pretty unique, almost like an apprentice, type process. So he definitely has a hold on his party. He definitely has a hold on where he wants to shape and take that party. And I just kind of when I still see the attacks in the media, the hit pieces against him. I don't see much Republican pushback. I mean, that was the same process was when he was in office. And I currently see a Biden administration that's pushing their agenda along through with ease. It worries you that once you have those policy goals accomplished and you get them passed through if you can, those are things you can tip your hat to when it comes to election season. If you see a lame duck Republican position or just being quiet or being internal with how they're doing things, I think you have an issue coming down the line. Yeah, we get our quotes from McConnell. We hear a little bit from Ted Cruz here and there about pushback on policy thus far. But it's just really, they seem like they're almost powerless at this point. You hope that's not the case. But again, you see a lot of tea leaves, and like I said, I don't see a mandate. So what I want to see is gridlock, and so you hope that you can see gridlock for the next couple of years. Hoping to see investigation, but you don't see much talk about those even more. Even these criminal investigations, you don't hear much about them. And that's what happens when you have a change in leadership. You don't see a lot of that anymore. And so he seemed like he's pushing along pretty easy, pretty strong, pretty seamless. And you kind of wonder with all the spending, he wants to pass another $3 trillion bill after passing a $1.9 trillion bill. It's supposed to be a jobs bill, and then that's another angle. That's another thing that I worry about is inflation and how strong really is this economy. Post COVID or even during this COVID season. When you look at the numbers, when you look at all the bills he's trying to pass, is this stimulus really more of an economic boost more than it is just a stimulus? A lot of that money went towards a lot of programs to rebuild a lot of these liberal cities. And that may have to continue, under the guise of a $3 trillion infrastructure deal. You look at the increase in food and gas prices. You look at the 279,000 new jobs that was created. And how the majority of that was for bars and restaurants, for naturally, restaurants opening up. So I'm interested to see the next jobs report. I'm hoping to see that it still continues to rise, but I'm worried that it might be negative because after the summer trends, after the summer seasons, what the fall looks like. Because like I said, depending on how strong we battle this COVID, that's going to be affected. And I just didn't see much job creation in other industries. So where is our growth coming from, and where are we headed as a nation as we battle global competitors like China and Russia, et cetera? So yeah, I'm all over the place. But like I said, the majority of the thing is we have to worry about what Biden's up to, and the administration's up to. Some of the articles that I came across that gives me that worry is just like I said, we have a lot of old officials back in office, a lot of former Obama officials back in office. And, I came across this article at ABC News. You may have it up there, but I have Obama-era officials return to the White House worth millions. This article goes through who is now currently in office now under the Biden administration and how they accumulated wealth over the past, decade, last 8 years or so since they've been in the White House at various times. And like I said, this is kind of bothers me. It bothers me, but it doesn't, because like I said, when you're dealing so close with policy, you're gonna come across news and information that is just it's just there. It's out there. You can take advantage of. How can you not be informed of things going on or new creations, whether it be in business and in government and civil, where you come across it as a politician or as an official? How do you not take it to your advantage? So it's hard when I can see how officials can get enriched by being so close to policy and in government because they know what's coming down the hill. But now, of course, you can't use it and be corrupted, and you can't use the seats for your own personal gain. Understand that. You have to have that. You have to have that political integrity. You have to make sure you do things right. But some of these numbers are just ridiculous, though. You come out making millions. Like, look at Nancy Pelosi, man. They've been in power so long, and Maxine Ward, they've been in power for so long. You know, it's just ridiculous how they're worth millions now. How do you get those millions? You know, unless you're using policy to your personal advantage. You know, you're shaking hands, you're rubbing elbows. That's part of getting deals done. But it affects it affects the human. It affects us, the ordinary Joe, because policy is being swayed a certain way that may be against us. All for filling up pockets. How do you clean that up? You know, I mean, the numbers are here each and every year. Each and every change of administration, they have a review and they show, you know, how much people made since they've been in office, since they haven't been in office, and then they. Oh no, let me just read a little bit of this. Let me see. For example, Susan Rice, who was among the wealthiest members of the Biden White House team, dramatically increased her wealth since her previous White House job during the Obama administration, reporting between $36 million and $145 million in various assets of her new disclosure filings released Saturday morning. Like a lot of her stuff are like Johnson & Johnson, Apple, and Microsoft, and like these could be legitimate investments, and just making smart moves. And like I said, you'll be dealing in policy where you're going to find information about these companies where you want to make a sound investment early. Now, I don't know, like, are you not allowed to do that? Or, now I guess you're allowed to, but the question is, like, are they going to divest? Is what what you're supposed to do when you're a government official, and it hasn't been exposed yet, or they haven't answered that question yet. A lot of these current officials, like Susan Rice, and they haven't seen the ethical agreements as well, is what this article says. Another official, for example, longtime advisor to Biden, has also tripled his wealth since 2009. A comparison of his past and new disclosure shows when he joined the Obama administration in 2009, he was a chief of staff, reported owning $1.4 million to $3.5 million in assets, and he now enters the Biden administration worth $4.4 million and $12.2 million in various assets. Again, now he received most of his salary as a venture capitalist at Revolution LLC, where executive vice president and general counsel, compared to $1 million he reported receiving his salary. Now, since it's the single wealthiest Biden administration official that had disclosed assets of the Saturday evening, surpassing Vinita Gupta, Biden's nominee for Associate Attorney General, in his total assets. He's only between $89.3 million and $442.8 million in assets, including various investment funds, real estate properties, and cash shares. He has invested his shares in his private investment firm, Crane Mirror Group, and as well as $1.1 million worth of shares in Facebook, where he has served as a board member. Now, so yeah, it's important to know where a lot of these. Oh, well, Jean Psaki, which is the press secretary for the White House, she's pretty clean. Let's see, receiving a communications consulting fee from Zentz in excess of $5,000. Though her reporting has no further details on the transaction, her assets have grown significantly since her first White House job during the Obama administration. In 2009, Psaki had reported between $32,000 and $130,000 in assets and $125,000 in income. But in 2021, she reported her wealth had increased at least tenfold, up to $1.5 million in assets, with an annual income of roughly $647,000. So, a lot of it came from consulting fees and the Carnegie Endowment of International Peace think tank. She's also been a CNN contributor and advisor at WestEc, a consulting firm founded in 2017, and current Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. By current Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, okay, so that's how they're related, at which several Obama era officials worked. It's all one gang. They all work together. It's like a group of lawyers. Like I said, these consulting fees is a way to kind of hide money and kind of make transactions work and do different deals. But again, like I said, a lot of the investments that I'm reading through is a lot of stocks in various corporate companies, a lot of big tech companies like Lyft, and a lot of startups. And you kind of wonder, are they going to divest, or how much influence do they have? But you can still see the tea leaves in a lot of ways. Like I said, this article is a cleaner way of showing their assets. But you think about during the Trump administration how they attacked the Trump family, and how there still are Trump attacking Trump's taxes, digging knee deep. You don't get that with this administration. See how and then you can see the investments in big tech. Various officials inside the White House, or being former board members of a lot of these companies like Facebook and Twitter and whatnot. It's the reporting and it's the accountability level in which which is shown in the media that really bothers me. And here at Emos the Witness Show, the Field Show, you hit that like, subscribe button. You catch me live at 120 East Market Street. Hit that like button and catch me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Bring a new angle, a new perspective. How do we get the information out and report it just the same, or just a level of accountability that we can. Because I see a slant in mainstream media. So you need news show, you need diversity. We got to remember, like 74 million people voted for, or probably even more, voted for the former president. So they have a different angle. We don't want, the dangers or the perils that might come from maybe a socialistic society. We've seen it happen. We've seen history. We don't want it to repeat itself. So we can't have a slant. We can't have a one-sided agenda being pushed through our country. We must protect the Constitution. We must protect freedom of speech, freedom of protest, right to bear arms. Your vote. And one way we can do that is make sure that we have a fair perspective news source and multiple sources. Just like in for me in business, you need diversity in business so you can have competition and you can spur lower prices, lower cost. So we need diversity. We need a melting pot, that's what we are. And, so like I said, and for leadership, we got to clean up influence, make sure influence is as level as possible. So we got to make sure our leaders are in a situation where they're actually, not influenced too much by these companies, financially. So when you come into office, you come out millionaires after being there for like 30, 40 years, or even being there for a short time. Like Obama, he's already making money. He still has his hands in politics, but he's getting rich all over the place. And the thing is, people are like, why are you always attacking Obama so much? Because, so much shit has happened in that administration. It has not been properly exposed or properly addressed, and it's still being addressed behind the scenes. And then now you have this administration that's currently in office. That's a carbon copy of the past administration. You're kind of like, man, nothing's gonna get solved. And it's not. It just comes from the top down. It's what went down in the Russia investigation. It's all the different dealings that went down during Ukraine. All the nonsense with the server with Hillary Clinton. It's the issues in Libya. It's the drone strikes for me. It's the foreign policy. It's like, how come you keep on going back in the past and attacking that former administration? Because that former administration still has his hands in a lot of shit. Biden is you may want to fight and argue, make the argument on the point that Biden is his own administration. But I don't you see a lot of former officials in office in his cabinet. Then what can you it's Obama part two. And when you look at the level of what went down in the Russia investigation, truly spying on our administration. Come on. A lot of things that were done during his administration, a lot of do nothing politics, a lot of there's a lot of corporate, a lot of corruption as far as financial transactions and things like that. I think the 2012 election was something that was a head scratcher too. What happened in Ohio. I think he may have stole Ohio. The intrusion of Secretary of State offices in Georgia. I got to pull some of these articles up. I can't just be talking about this stuff and not really show you. But a lot of things went down in the administration. A lot of spying, the IRS. You heard about these things. Using the IRS to attack his political opponents. Post presidency, just moving right down the street with Valerie, Jared, and crew. Got with Eric Holder, started gerrymandering, started trying to change legislation in certain states, getting ready for 2020 after Trump won. You know, I mean, just like I said, I just don't like a lot of underhanded things that went down. And then, like I said, he does pop his head up during key crises to push certain agendas. And his speeches, to me, they're divisive. If you truly listen to the words that he says, there's no hope anymore. A lot of stuff is divisive. There's other ways we can change policies, and I think I think we can do a better job. And I think that we let a lot of our leaders go about saying certain things that we don't hold them truly accountable. When we do, we get a lot of pushback by, influenced supporters who have the same agenda, and it's just something that we can do a lot of better. We can do better by pushing back against some of these leaders who just kind of talk because we like them because of maybe the way they look or the way they talk or the way they act. It goes hand in hand. It goes the same way with Trump. Don't necessarily like him because of his attitude or his personality. He sounds more brash and harsh. So you have a negative disposition. But we have a smooth criminal, someone who's savvy, silver tongue. A nice smile, not clean. You want to listen, softer. Listen to everything you got to say and take it for face value. You got to be mindful. We got to be more thoughtful and say, what's the agenda? What's the reason? Does it truly make sense? And then, like I said, I think Obama is definitely someone that I got to keep bringing up until we truly know the heart and soul of the Democratic Party. Because we don't really know. We don't know. That's one of the most deceptive parties. You got to think about that. You think about what are they? What really are they? Are they a old school establishment Biden leadership? Are they influenced by Obama's leadership? How those two relationships merge? Because there's a lot of power there. And you have the young Democrats that are there too. They want to push a certain agenda. And then it's the Bernie Sanders and the Medicare for All, and it's like, so what? I mean, then there's a privacy angle. This administration is quiet in a lot of ways at providing information. And so where are they taking us? Well, I know they want to go big. And I think as a country, we need to make sure that we hold them accountable. And for myself, I think I want gridlock. I want gridlock until the 2022 elections to see exactly what's the pulse of America. How do we really feel about all this now? Is this a calm before the storm, or are we really with what's going on and we're ready to go forward as a nation and grow and heal from a lot of what's going on with COVID and everything? I see we're opening up. You look at Miami. Spring breakers are going wild. We talk about climate change. You look at some of these pictures on these beaches. We need a pollution campaign. I didn't even think I sound like an old fogey, man, like an old man. But man, I guess people are just trying to get out. But man, it's a mess. It's a mess down in Florida. Miami's been hit hard. You know what I'm saying? But it's COVID. People are trying to do what they can do best to bring about a better beginning of the year. Because man, last year about this time we were going through it. But yeah, I'm glad to see that in certain ways. But again, like I said, I'm worried about a lot of things that our politicians are doing behind the scenes and doing things when it comes to taking advantage of certain crises. And, these shootings are an example. The Biden administration urging Supreme Court to seize our guns. Without a warrant and all that. Just think about that. You're putting the cops in danger, adding more stress and strain on this issue that's not gonna. You're not gonna get anybody's guns. You're just not gonna do that. So yeah, so the Supreme Court on Wednesday will hear oral arguments on Caligula versus Strom, a case that could claim Igla. Well, I won't say Caligula for some reason. A case that could have sweeping consequences for policy due to process and mental health, with the Biden administration and Attorney General from 9 states urging the High Court to uphold warrantless gun confiscation. But what would ultimately become a major Fourth Amendment case began with an elderly couple spat over a coffee mug. In August 2015, 68-year-old Edwin, I'm going to get this word right, Caniglia, joked to Kim and his wife of 22 years, that he didn't use a certain coffee mug after his brother-in-law had used it because he might catch a case of dishonesty. That quip quickly spiraled into an hour-long argument. Growing exhausted from the bickering, Edwin stormed into his bedroom, grabbed the unloaded gun, and put it on the kitchen table in front of his wife. With a flair for the dramatic, he then asked, "Why don't you just shoot me and get out of my misery?" Perhaps unsurprisingly, the tactic backfired and the two continued to argue. Eventually, Edward took the drive to cool off, but when he returned, the argument once flared up again. This time, Claire decided to leave the house and spend the night in a motel. The next day, Kim phoned home, no answer. Worried, she called the police in Cranston, Rhode Island, and asked them to perform a well check on her husband and escort her home. When they arrived, officers spoke to Edward on the back deck. According to an incident report, he seemed normal, was calm for the most part, and even said he would never commit suicide. However, none of the officers had asked Edward any questions about the factors related to the risk of suicide, risk of violence, or prior misuse of firearms. Edward had no criminal record and no history of violence, by the way, of no harm. In fact, one of the officers later admitted he did not consult any specific psychological or psychiatric criteria or medical professionals for his decisions that day. Still, the police were convinced that Edward could hurt himself and insisted he head to a local hospital for psychiatric evaluation. After refusing and insisting that his mental health wasn't their business, Edward agreed only after police falsely promised they wouldn't seize his guns while he was gone. Compounding that dishonesty, police then told Kim that Edward had consented to the confiscation, believing the seizures were approved by her husband, Kim, led the officers to 2 handguns and the couple owned, which were properly seized. Even though Edward was immediately discharged from the hospital, police only returned the firearms after he filed a civil rights lawsuit against them. That's the only time they decided to return the guns. Critically, when police seized the guns, they didn't claim it as an emergency to prevent imminent danger. Instead, the officers argued the actions were the form of community caretaking, a narrow exception for the Fourth Amendment warrant requirement. Very narrow, huh? First created by the Supreme Court 50 years ago, the community caretaking exception was designed for cases involving impounded cars and highway safety, on the grounds that police are often called to car accidents to remove nuances like inoperable vehicles and public roads. So both the district and appellate courts upheld seizures as reasonable under the community caretaking exception. In deciding the Caniglia case, the First Circuit U.S. Appeals acknowledged that the doctrine reached outside the motor vehicle context is ill-defined. Nevertheless, the court decided to extend that doctrine to cover private homes, ruling that the officers did not exceed the proper province of their community caretaking responsibilities. Now, siding with law enforcement, the First Circuit Court noted that police officers must act as a master of all emergencies who is expected to provide an infinite variety of services to preserve and protect community safety. So, by letting the police operate without a warrant, the community caretaking exception is designed to give police elbow room to make appropriate action, the court added. Now, the attorneys for the Caniglia argue that, or warned that extending the community caretaking exception to homes would be anathema to the Fourth Amendment because it would grant police a blank check to intrude upon the home. Now, they say that fear is not unwarranted. The jurisdictions that have extended the community caretaking exception to homes, everything from loud music to leaky pipes, have been used to justify warrantless invasions of the home. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to how this case is going to pan out because, like I said, it's going to expand the powers of police officers to actually be able to confiscate and go on and take guns from you based on this community exception. So, like I said, they're trying to use various cases to wither away the constitutional right to bear arms. You know, expanding a exception that like I said, related to like they mentioned, cars and roads. This first court actually sided with that exception. So we'll see how that goes with the Supreme Court. And you see Biden's using various angles, the administration is, to wither away, chip away at our civil liberties. The right to bear arms. In my opinion, this is one angle. When you use tragedies such as the shooting in Colorado and Atlanta, and then you see a former administration official like Obama coming out, with his posting. Again, this is what he has stated. Reading a snippet of it. His Twitter post, actually, after the shooting in Colorado. A once-in-a-century pandemic cannot be the only thing that slows mass shootings in this country. We shouldn't have to choose between one type of tragedy and another. It's time for leaders everywhere to listen to the American people when they say enough is enough, because this is a normal that we can no longer afford. I agree with that. It is long past time that those with the power to fight this epidemic of gun violence to do so. It will take time to root out the disaffection, racism, and misogyny that fuels so many of these senseless acts of violence. But we can make it harder for those that hate in their hearts to buy weapons of war. We can overcome opposition by cowardly politicians and the pressures of the gun lobby to oppose the limit on the ability of anyone to assemble an arsenal. We can and we must. See, there's just some truth in there, and there's some things that worry me. Like I said, how far do you go, and who's responsible? To a certain degree when it comes to the mass arsenal that's being provided. But at the same time, what are we doing to attack the mental health angle? And then what are we doing to slow down the rhetoric that divides us, or that spreads the evil and the hate? What are we? Are we hitting the right note when we bring up racism, misogyny? Are we constantly bringing various angles of stories in society that have a racist bent to it, and how we report it? We all have a role to play, but it seems like every time these events happen, we always constantly attack the gun lobby or something that is protected by our Constitution. One of our freedoms. We got to attack everything. We got to look at all the angles that cause these things to happen. The messaging, the access. I do agree about the access. The mental health angle. Are we hitting the right note? What's the major cause? You take away guns, people go pick up another weapon. But they're still going to be crazy. Did you address that part? He had a knife this time, not a gun. But he's still crazy. Now we're going to have a knife control lobby. Trying to find a way to get rid of all these knives. So we got to just look at everything. And I just think that we got to make sure we just kind of be more real with the American people when it comes to these real issues that really change people's lives. How the hell I don't want to go down, give me a bowl of cereal, go give me the box of cereal at Walmart and run into a mass shooting. I don't. But we can't play with that stuff. People are scared to go outside of this, and you're pumping too much fear in the world, on top of everything else we're going through. Boy, I hate to leave a Freestyle Friday off on that kind of note, but, I don't want to, we'll come back on Monday with some more hard topics, more real news events, real news topics, because, a lot of the issues that we talk about, a lot of big news hits over the weekend when you're distracted. So we definitely have a lot to talk about on Monday. We'll dig into a lot of different headlines and discuss them. But I want to make sure that you guys will realize that the messaging is important, and we have to make sure that we look at the whole perspective. And remember, the whole goal of this show is to be witnesses, to hold our politicians accountable, to speak truth to power. And just share some light on news and maybe issues that you may not hear about on a day-to-day basis. Like I said, this show is still growing. It's the Emo's the Witness, the Phil Show. Saying what the fuck I look like, addressing politics and news and current events on an angle that we may not see on a daily basis. You can catch me live downtown every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. at 120 East Market Street. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. You can catch me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Website is coming soon, emostowitness.com. I want you guys to have a wonderful weekend, and join me back on Monday as we talk about all these topics again. When we dig a little deeper, and we just make sure we get better informed and grow together as witnesses. You guys take care, be easy out there, and I'll see you, Emos to Witness, and I'm out.